Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated. Welcome back to Nerds Amalgamated. This week we're talking about Valve's new hardware, which is very exciting. The live-action My Hero Academia, and a decelerating universe. And as always, we're supported by Res, a energy supplement. Yes, I remembered the words. Energy supplement for the long game. Get 10% off with the code NERDS at checkout at drinkres.com, R-E-Z. So what we're not supported by is Steam, but they have announced some very exciting new hardware last week.
Yeah,
a new VR headset, the Steam Frame, a Steam Machine, which is better known as the Gabe Cube, and a Steam Controller 2, which is just a Steam Deck without a screen.
I am so hyped for this.
Yeah, I'm most excited about the controller and the frame.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed the frame's going to have an LCD screen, not OLED. But it will have a library already, because it's got both PC VR games, which is interesting because it runs on an ARM chip. So it's the same kind of CPU that you have in your phone, but they're getting it to run Steam games on the device.
Okay.
It's through a translation layer called FEX, which is basically Proton, but for translating to ARM instead of to Linux. But by being ARM, it can also support Android games, which means Android games are possibly going to be coming to Steam. Which is both good and bad, because other VR headsets run a modified version of Android, so it'll have their game library. But there is so much shovelware on the Android stores that I'm worried that if they open up that to the general Steam market, we'll just get a bunch of really shitty games on Steam.
I mean, what's going to be interesting is the fact that now that Steam is releasing these sorts of things, what's going to happen to our mobile phones?
Well, it's not going to replace your phone. It's a VR headset.
Yeah.
And I think we all admit, no matter how hard Apple tries to push it, working in VR is just goofy.
I disagree with that. Remember when the Meta glasses first came? Well, no, actually, no. When the Apple glasses first came out, and they had the whole the interface for it, and it looked like you could answer your phone calls and do everything with the glasses
By
on.
Apple glasses, do you mean the Apple Vision?
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody actually uses that. Like, I follow a lot of VR content online.
Yeah.
And I'm yet to see someone who's taking working in VR seriously. Sure, you can use it as an extended display for your laptop, but then you're putting on a headset and you might as well just use the laptop. Most people don't care to spend an extra couple of $1,000 US, so you can imagine what it costs in Australia.
Yeah, it's the prices are going to be terrifying when Australian shores.
That I'm not so sure about.
Really?
Yeah, the Steam controller is probably going to be reasonably priced for a controller.
Hmm.
The last one was. The frame, they're targeting a price less than the Index. And the Index came out 5 years ago. Actually, I think it was 2019, so 6 years ago. And was quite expensive at the time. But consider also that we've gone through huge amounts of inflation since then. And the GPU market and all of that are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So compared to what we're looking at for tethered VR, this is probably going to be reasonably priced. Like, you want to fall out of your seat in shock, look up the Somnium VR headset. That thing costs like €3,500.
How do you spell that?
SOMNIUM.
Somnium VR. Okay. Wow, 4,299 euros. Damn, that's the ultimate edition, but mind you.
Yeah.
Okay, convert to Australian. If you hear me crash out, you will know, you will understand. Convert, so 429,900. Is that? Am I seeing the right price?
You can't possibly be. 4,000 euro does not equal 400,000 Australian dollars.
If that. Well, I'm looking at the price. It says 4.299 comma double zero, and I'm like, okay,
Oh,
this is
you're probably using a European site
yeah.
because it's one of those weird cultural things where places that speak English, like Australia, the UK, and America, all use a dot for the decimals.
Yeah,
So you look at like 4,000 and then commas as the separator for thousands.
yeah, yeah.
In Europe, they do it the other way.
What the fuck? Alright, 4,299. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it that way. 4,299. Okay, euros to Australia. Wow! $7,671 and 17 cents. Wow!
Yeah, that is like the absolute best of the best headset you can get.
And that's the ultimate edition, mind you. So,
Yeah,
holy shit.
but it does have all of the features. But I think, yeah, for a tethered headset, it'll be more expensive. Sorry, untethered headset, so
Mm,
standalone. It'll be more expensive than the Meta Quest, but less expensive than an Index, which I think would put it at about 600 to 800 US dollars. Because the Index cost about $1,000 when it came out. The Meta Quest 3 cost 800 Aussie dollars, so about half that for the US dollars, I think, is the conversion rate at the moment.
okay.
So that would cost, yeah, $400 to $500 US. So it's going to sit somewhere in between there. Now, the Steam Machine is the one that I can't get hyped about because it's just too weak for the
What do
price
you
point
mean
they're
to
aiming for. It's
yeah?
only got 8 gigs of VRAM, and the CPU is okay, but the GPU is where it really gets let down. YouTuber The Fox, PHAWX, did a comparison where he took a computer built to be roughly the specs of the Steam Machine, and it's too weak to play AAA games. It might compete with a PlayStation 5, but the PlayStation 5 is already a few years old, and there's talks of the PlayStation 6. So
What
I
the
think it'll be
wouldn't
good for, double A games.
yeah.
But although we haven't seen much marketing of it yet, they do talk about 4K 60, which it is theoretically capable of, depending on the game. It'll only do 4K 60 with pretty weak games. And I think they're going to have to make sure that's clear, or people will buy it expecting to play a AAA game at 4K and be upset.
Okay, wouldn't it also be dependent on the type of RAM? Like if it's a DDR4 or DDR5 RAM as well? Or is that for a totally different matter?
Well, yeah, graphics RAM is usually a generation ahead of the RAM that you stick in your computer.
Yeah.
So I think they're up to, yeah, GDDR6, and that comes with the GPU basically.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the final hardware specs are, because I don't believe they've released them. I'll just check.
I yeah, I have when I first saw the Steam Machine page, I think they did release the specs, but
Yeah, it's running on an AMD APU.
yeah.
So, it'll be good for games, just not AAA games. And that's where I think that it's going to fall down. It also is going to run Linux. So, there are so many hoons going past my place today. But it's going to run Linux and theoretically be 6 times the power of the Steam Deck. So,
Well,
can it, like, it can't compete with a custom built. The question is, can it compete with a console, basically?
oh yeah.
And at that price point, the thing to remember is that at the price point that you get a console, you're getting it sold at a loss because they know that they've got you locked into their store. You're going to buy games from them. They can make it back on their cut of the games. This thing is not locked down at all. So how can Valve make their money back if they don't sell it at a profit? I think that's the big question. Because if this thing's too expensive, I think it's dead in the water. It's better off than the original Steam machine from 15 years ago, thereabouts, because there's Proton. The original Steam machine ran Linux, but had no games because there was no Proton. And Valve put it out there and basically said, game developers make games for this. Nobody bought it because there weren't games. Game developers didn't make games for Linux because it wasn't a big enough market share. So there really was a, chicken and egg problem trying to figure out how much effort to put into releasing your game on Steam Machine. The Steam Machine and the Steam Frame have an advantage now. They both have an existing library of games. I think the Steam Machine, though, will be more expensive than people are expecting.
I think it also caters to a very niche market as well when it
What do
comes
you
to
mean?
like when if you saw the trailer for it, it was like, oh yes, we're going to be putting the Steam machine on multiplayer games and whatnot. Like the way they were marketing it, it makes it sound like it's not for everyone, even though they're trying to make it sound like it's for everyone.
Well, I think they should market it as a console replacement computer. So something you put under the TV, you hook up your controllers, and you play couch co-op games.
Yeah.
I think marketing it as a AAA replacement console is a bit of a mistake because it's just not going to be that powerful.
Yeah.
But, they might prove me wrong.
I do have a question about the Steam frame for you, Professor. So
Yeah.
with the Steam frame, give it with this announcement, you reckon this will attract users to go from MetaQuest and other VR platforms to Steam frame, or you reckon this will be like just another VR machine basically?
Well, the thing that I think would get me to buy it, I
Hmm.
don't own a MetaQuest. I own an original Vive, which is definitely a bit long in the tooth now, but it still works perfectly fine. I still have fun with it, and I can't justify the cost to replace it at the moment. The Considering I only got it last year for a pretty good. The Anyway, the my point was, what was my point? I'm
It
lost.
was
What were
it
you
was a
asking?
I was asking, is the Steam frame gonna attract users away
Oh
from
yeah.
MetaQuest and other VR platforms?
Well, I would buy a frame over a MetaQuest
Hmm.
because I don't like the idea of Facebook having cameras into my home.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, I've done everything I can to minimize my reliance on Facebook, and I'm in the process of minimizing my reliance on Google and other cloud services. So I think, yeah, a Steam frame would be very appealing for my next VR headset.
Hmm.
I just wish it had OLED because to me, it's a huge immersion breaker and you can get much better blacks with OLED.
The way you worded that sounds so terrible. It sounds problematic. Can you
No, because I'm
explain that?
not separating the blacks and the colors, okay, DJ? Actually, that would be the same thing if I
Yeah.
was racist. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
the OLED gives you better blacks, which is great for space games,
Ah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
and I like space.
It makes you feel like you're in part of the universe, basically.
Yeah, it's more immersive to have a black screen when you're flying in, say, Elite Dangerous or No Man's Sky, rather than a grey screen, because really on LCD you get grey as your black.
I see your point. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'm also excited because it comes with the Steam Frame controllers,
Yeah.
which are going to be basically the index controller with more buttons.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah. It looks sweet. Yeah.
So I'm excited for the controllers, and I wonder whether they could work with another headset. Probably not,
Hmm.
because let's see, the specs for it says that it uses IR illuminators for tracking and pass through in dark environments. So yeah, the my sort of dream headset is the Big Screen Beyond 2 because it is OLED and it is huge resolution.
As in like 4K and over, or
I'll check. But
why?
compared to other headsets, it's basically one of the higher resolution headsets. It's 2560 by 2560, which I think is what 4K is, but it's a square instead of a rectangle.
Damn.
Well, that's not a problem because it covers your whole field of view. And you have one screen for each eye, and that's how it does the 3D effect.
So similar to like
So,
3D glasses.
yeah, you show a slightly different image to each eye, and that's how you get your 3D effect, your depth perception. But the problem is the Big Screen Beyond is an external tracking headset, so you need lighthouses like the original Vive. So, we'll see what happens when the frame comes out. But I do think a lot of people who want a Quest but don't want to deal with Facebook would go for a frame instead.
Also, I was gonna say with what you were saying earlier about Android coming into the fold as well, and with their VR titles, what challenges you reckon developers might face with when porting these Android titles into the Steam frame? You reckon?
Well, Valve are saying that there should be no challenge. It should just work.
But then again, it would be interesting seeing the transition and when you're in the middle of playing an Android game, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's crashing. What's happened?
Yeah, having a game crash in VR is not fun. Like, it doesn't
Oh,
hurt you, but just either everything freezes or starts stuttering, and that can make you feel a little bit sick.
yeah.
Like, I've had it happen where something started lagging, the game's still running, but there's lag, and the more lag there is, the more it makes you feel sick because your vision is not matching your movement, and your inner ear does not like that.
It's gonna be interesting as well. The developers gonna be coming into the VR scene, given how it's gonna be lower the barrier of entry for VR devs to access more audience.
Yeah, well, it's already not a huge leap to make a game VR. Like, on a basic level, like most of the major engines support VR, so a lot of the hard work is already done for you.
Yeah. And there is also potential with Android coming to the Steam with Steam. Could we see the potential for hybrid games like a cross-platform VR title?
Where some players are in VR and some are on flat screen,
Yeah.
that's already a thing. There's a game called Takeling's House Party, which is that concept. The idea is basically you have some players on a flat screen playing as takelings, which are mini creatures. So it's sort of like being in the burrows.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then you have one player who is a human running around the house in VR, dealing with these little creatures.
I'm seeing the trailer right now. It's a mix of Fall Guys and you know those scary horror games that like you're the tiny creature and this bigger giant wants to take you and eat you kind of games. You see on Facebook.
No, I don't think I've ever seen one of them.
Oh, I'll find one and I'll show it to you after the show. But do you reckon this will benefit a lot of developers in the long run, or you reckon this will just be this will kind of shorten the developer market?
I feel like I already answered that.
All right, okay, fair enough.
We should move on to our next topic. DJ,
Oh
tell
yeah.
me about the live action My Hero Academia.
Okay, so as you know, Netflix is developing a live-action My Hero Academia movie in partnership with Legendary Pictures. Uh, the big news from this is that the creator of the series My Hero Academia, Kohei Horikoshi, is very deeply involved in this. And according to screenwriter Jason Fuchs, as in Fuchs, Hirokoshi reviews everything: the treatment, the outline, the scenes, and gives thumbs up or thumbs down on every piece. Now, this level of involvement is being compared to how Ichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, was involved in Netflix's One Piece live action adaptation, and that involvement is being credited as the big reason for One Piece's success. Fox says that this close collaboration gives him confidence that the adaptation will stay true to the spirit of the original manga while being accessible for people new to My Hero Academia. The project is still in early development. So what's interesting is that live action anime adaptation often have a mixed history. Some have succeeded, some have failed. So a lot of people are crediting the original creator being involved in this as a smart move to help make the adaptation more faithful and be better received by the fans.
Well,
And
wasn't the original creator of Cowboy Bebop involved in
he was
that?
he was originally, then he left the project, if I recalled correctly.
Okay.
Um, yeah, he left the. I think he left the creator. He left the project dispute or something like that. But what's interesting with this whole thing is how much of the how much does the creator of the series have a hands-on role influence the adaptation's faithfulness to other live action projects? Because you've got some that'll be like, oh yeah, I will technically be there, but won't they don't do it much. They don't do much justice. And then some will be like, I am too heavily involved, and I'm too heavily involved, and it kind of feels not balanced.
Well, I don't think that having the creator involved is a guarantee that it's going to be. The creator being involved is usually a reasonable sign that they're going to be close to the original material,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's one way. Yeah, you're right. But bringing this into Netflix doing this after the success of One Piece, you reckon it's just it just feels like they're copying it over and over again?
Well, of
Like,
course, they decide to try the thing that made them a lot of money again.
yeah,
It's like after Squid Game, they had lots of Korean shows because they were trying to find the next hit. And, do the same thing again might actually work again, maybe?
yeah. I remember because as soon as Squid Games came out, there was a there was a Japanese alternative to it. I forgot what it was called. Of Squid Game.
Battle Royale?
No, not that one. It was a more recent one. Alice in Borderland, that's the one. Where the premise was basically in the first season, the Rohei Arisu and his two friends are suddenly transported to an alternate desolate Tokyo where they must play life or death games to survive. And then the second season, uh rest of the players must fight against face cards, citizens of Borderland, where they seek to find out they'll return to their world if they win. And yeah, and the one thing that also strikes me about this, because My Hero Academia, are you familiar with My Hero Academia at all? One of the last professor.
I know it's about a school of heroes, and that's about it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's basically a superhero-ish anime series, and we're kind of and you and I we've seen all the Marvels related stuff swamp taking over the internet as of late, and we're kind of going through a superhero fatigue. Do you reckon this kind of amplifies the superhero fatigue, or you reckon it's just nah, this is totally different?
It really depends on how they do it. Because there are superhero stories that are doing okay. There are, like, what's it called? Dispatch
Oh yeah, yeah.
is a superhero game that made a bunch of money. So it's obvious that people aren't completely sick of superheroes. They're just sick of Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But knowing nothing about My Hero Academia, I have no idea which category that's going to fall under.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm one and knowing live action coming to live action anime coming into Hollywood, I'm wondering, can Japanese superhero logic survive Hollywood's special effects? Like, will the main character end up looking like Spider-Man on steroids?
That would just be Tom Holland if he got into drugs. So Spider-Man on steroids would be ridiculous because Tom Holland does not have the frame to pull off muscle.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I see it.
He's got a gymnast body.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man on steroids would look silly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just worried now. Like live action anime, it's always a gamble. When like with One Piece, it was a big success. But when you look at other ones like Ghost in the Shell, for example, and how it flopped very badly, yeah, it's always a gamble when it comes to live action anime.
It's a gamble when it comes to adapting anything.
Okay, I sort of disagree with you on that because I mean, look what's happened with Frankenstein with Del Toro. he adapted it, and it looks and it was perfect.
I don't see how that's relevant. That's one
I like I said,
example.
okay, like I said, it's one example, but it did well as an adaptation. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a bad adaptation of Franken. To be fair.
Okay, that still doesn't disprove my point.
Okay, yep, fair enough. What's going to be interesting with this, with My Hero Academia also coming in? Yeah, as I said earlier, with the superhero fatigue, like, and I think you answered it. Like, could this refresh the superhero storytelling, or drown us in oversaturation?
Well, I think there's something to be said for doing an original story, but I do know there's a lot of people who will write off watching a show because it's anime and anime is for kids.
Yeah, yeah. But you could bring in a but with the live action anime, you could also bring in new fans as well. Though, go like, hey, I saw this live action of My Hero Academia, and it looks good. I'm gonna try and read the manga and watch the anime as well.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. Make lots of money.
Yeah, that's the worry. Like, will Netflix treat every anime adaptation like a cash cow, or is this going to be a one-off? That's the scary part.
Yeah, not every adaptation is going to be a cash cow, obviously.
But I hope we get a breath of fresh air with this adaptation. I know it's early in production, but yeah, maybe maybe we'd see a lot future about this.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So, our next topic is about a decelerating universe. So, for decades, the universe has been assumed to be expanding based on the measurements that have been taken. But there's a new study from South Korea which finds no evidence of an accelerating universe. So, we know the universe is expanding, and some of the measurements indicate that it's expanding faster and faster. This one comes out and goes completely against that and says it's actually decelerating.
So how did they come to this conclusion?
Well, the original study was based on measurements to type 1a supernova, and the new study indicates that type 1a supernovae are not all the same and they're affected by the age of the stars that form them. So it basically throws off all the measurements that were taken proving the universe is expanding. And they're pretty damn sure about it because they've got to 99.999% confidence that they've got the right answer.
Not 100, but 99.99. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, well, taking the new measurements into account
Yeah.
throws off the model that suggests the universe is accelerating and instead suggests that it's decelerating, which makes a lot of things a bit simpler because, first of all, if something is accelerating, where is the extra force coming from? And that was called dark energy because the measurements indicated that something was pushing the galaxies apart, but not what it was. Because when they measured everything else, they came up with a big unidentified value, basically, and called that dark energy because they don't know what it is.
Original.
Yeah, it's the same deal with dark matter. It's a cool concept in sci-fi. Actually, I've just been rewatching Futurama, and dark matter is the fuel for
The ship.
the ship. Yeah,
Yeah.
Planet
And
Express.
what was and they all came from Nibbler's poop.
Yeah, but it's not that dark matter is likely to all be one thing. It's more likely to be a bunch of different factors that we haven't taken into account because we don't know about them. So newer models measured the cosmic microwave background and the baryon acoustic oscillations and found that the universe was accelerating, but it would eventually decelerate and slow down. But that's sometime in the future.
Okay, how much of a sometime in the future are we seeing here? Like hundreds of years, or thousands of years, or
Uh,
millions of
millions or billions of years.
Okay, so the universe will come to a complete stop in millions of years' time.
Well, that's the thing. Space is really big,
Yeah.
and it takes a long time for anything to happen in space, partly because it is so big.
Yep. So that said, okay, how long do you reckon before the universe starts going backwards, like Red Dwarf when planet Earth went backwards?
Well, that's the thing. If the universe is already decelerating, It
Yeah.
means we are significantly closer to the Big Crunch than we expected, assuming the Big Crunch is accurate. The Big Crunch theory is that eventually the universe will slow down its acceleration and then reach a point where it's not expanding anymore, and then gravity will bring it all back in together and end the universe and possibly create a new. So don't panic. We've still got a few billion years, but we've got a few billion less than we expected.
So how long before I getting my bell and the end is nigh road sign and going out to the street and go repent everybody, repent, repent.
Look, there's nothing stopping you doing that now if you want.
Yeah, but then now it's no evidence. Now I have evidence. Then I couldn't, you know.
Yeah, we'll just have to leave it up to future humans to figure out a way out. It's assuming we ever get off Earth, which probably won't happen the rate we're going. What's interesting is I was reading the other day that even if all oxygen production on Earth stopped, which is a possibility with the destruction of the oceans,
Yeah.
we'd still have thousands of years worth of oxygen before we ran out.
So we're still screwed, essentially.
Yeah, eventually we're screwed.
So with the universe's expansion slowing down, so it's gonna be an interesting plot to it now.
Go on, how is it a plot twist?
I mean, it feels like a plot twist now. Like, could this mean the universe might stop expanding and just reverse it? This seems like a plot twist out of a sci-fi movie.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
A better sci-fi movie than 2012. The neutrinos are mutating is some of the worst science I've ever.
Oh man. So with discovery, are we at the discovering physics, or is it just are we just just correcting our own observational screw ups?
Just correcting the observational screw-ups.
Yeah, and yeah, this could overturn decades worth of dark energy theory overnight. This sort of
Yeah,
discovery.
it could. That would be really interesting, actually.
Hmm.
We'll see over the next decade more measurements to either support or disprove this new theory, and eventually we'll find out about whether it's true or not. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to learning more about it.
I feel like at this point, this feels like at this moment we're gonna realize, okay, the universe is playing tricks on us.
Well, there is that Douglas Adams quote
Yeah.
where from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where I don't remember the exact wording, but it's along the lines of it said that if anyone ever discovers what the universe is like all about, the meaning of life and all that, the universe would instantly be replaced by something even more bizarre. There are some who believe that this has already happened.
Damn.
Yeah.
Also, with this discovery as well, could this finding trigger a new scientific panic at your next conference? Like we had
No,
remember when Al Gore did the whole an inconvenient truth, and that triggered a big panic. Like, could we see something similar to that extent?
probably not.
Probably not.
No, astronomical science tends to move quite slow. There's not a lot of panic because there's a lot of time to study it and things just move slowly in space.
Yeah, but what? Okay, but what about what when solar flares hit though? Like when solar flares hit the Earth, there's always this big panic about it. Like, and it happens instantaneously. What's the difference between that and this?
Well, solar flares don't happen instantaneously. We know they're coming because we have satellites around the sun and they take time to travel from the sun to Earth. But that's still on the order of less than a day compared to billions of years.
Yeah. Another interesting thing would be since we've been hit with this revelation, I wonder how many future of the cosmos predictions we're gonna be hearing after this.
Yeah, people are probably going to overreact.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, on with our shoutouts. On the 14th of November 1967, Theodore Maiman received a patent for his ruby laser, the world's first laser. A ruby laser uses a synthetic ruby crystal as its gain medium. and it was initially built by Theodore Maiman at Hughes Research Laboratories on May 16th, 1960. The original Ruby laser is still operational and was demonstrated in 2010 at a symposium hosted in Vancouver by the Dr. Theodore Maiman Memorial Foundation and Simon Fraser University. And what is our messed up moment, DJ?
Oh, damn. Okay, so talking about the live action My Hero Academia. Uh, I was gonna, I was wondering whether I should spoil you one of the backstories of the biggest villain in the series. But yeah, I should. I shall do it. So one of the biggest villains in the My Hero Academia verse, his name is Tomura Shigaraki. Shigaraki, that's the one. Tomura Shigaraki. His origin story is one of the most disturbing sequences in the entire series. So his initial awakening of the quirk resulted in the accidental horrific death of his entire family, including the dog. And the scene's very disturbing. Um, Not just the graphic nature of the whole scene, but through but psychological as well, because it happened to him as a kid. And this memory was fully unlocked during one of the later arcs of the series, and it precipitates an evolution of his to even more terrifying levels. And this awakening allows Shigaraki to decay an entire city block with just one touch and lead to massive destruction and countless deaths. And the mess and how it happened was basically he decayed his entire family.
And what does
Right,
decayed mean?
decay as in yeah, decayed as in it just breaks down everything. Like one touch, instant death. Like
Okay.
everything gets vaporized. And if you ever see his costume, which I'll show you, I'll give you a pic. So the picture of his costume, like if you see those hands grabbing onto him, those white hands with with the double plugs kind of thing. Those are actually his parents' hands. Those were the last thing his parents held onto him when he was a kid. So yeah, that's my messed up in nerddom.
So his parents grabbed onto him and the only thing left is their hands.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's terrifying. That's very terrifying when I think about it.
Well, on with our wacky movie. On the 14th of November 1964, coming out way ahead of when it should be, no Christmas before December, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians premiered in America. Directed by Nicholas Webster from a story by Glenville Marif and Paul L. Jacobson, it starred John Call, Leonard Hicks, Vincent Beck, and others. The plot is the Martians kidnap Santa Claus because there is nobody on Mars to give their children presents. The film was created by producer Paul Jacobson, who wanted to move into producing features. He hired writer Glenville Marif and Nicholas Webster. He called the film a Yuletide science fiction fantasy and said he made it because of a perceived gap in the market. I did not know there was a gap of science fiction Christmas movies. He said, except for the Disneys, there is very little in film houses that children recognize as their own.
I
Filming
mean,
took 2
imagine.
weeks in a converted aircraft hangar at Roosevelt Film in Long Island, New York, which is now a shopping mall. Go on, DJ.
I was gonna say, imagine doing these types of movies nowadays. That would be an interesting market. Putting this all, making these types of movies and seeing on you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's silly movies like that still coming out. 1966, Levine said that he had made 15 family-type pictures in 18 months. But don't let it get around. I don't want anyone to know because families don't go to see them. They just talk about them. But I make them anyway because I have the protection of the television. Money in the bank, the television.
Weird justification.
Yeah.
I don't.
And Levine, since I didn't mention him earlier,
Yeah.
was the film distributor. The film is now in the with ancillary rights held by Studio Canal and also spoofed on Mystery Science Theater 3000. So that would be riffed, not spoofed.
So if I were to if I were to do like a reaction video to this movie, I would not get like copyright claimed or anything like that. Hey.
Depends what country you're in. You got to check the jurisdiction. But if it's public domain in the US, it's probably safe because the US has some of the longest copyright periods.
Yeah.
This film also included the first film appearance of Mrs. Claus, and the Martian ray guns were painted Whammo air blasters. And the film is listed among the 100 most amusingly bad movies ever made in the Golden Raspberry Award founder John Wilson's book, The Official Razzie Movie Guide.
By the way,
It
Professor,
also
you want to
predicted
see
the existence of the US Space Force.
Space Force? By the way, Professor, here's what the Whammo air blaster looks like.
Yeah, it's basically a couple of cylinders bolted together.
It's like I killed Santa with what? An air blaster. So you just blew him away, huh?
Yeah, I assume it's particularly an air cannon. It shoots a puff of air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says on the box, shoots a mysterious of air over 18 feet. Mysterious air.
That sounds misleading. That sounds terrifying.
It does.
The gun does not work.
Well, that's all we have for this week. So look after yourselves, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.
You can check us on our social media at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We also have our Twitch streams as well. We've got some
Yes, we've
interesting
been
news coming.
invited to stream the Golden Joysticks Awards, which means we're
Yeah,
getting up
that's
at a ridiculous hour of the morning.
yeah, yeah, and that's gonna be fun. Check us out on Twitch TV. And we also do. Aside from that, we also do play games as well. I've been having some Marvel Rivals on Twitch. So much. But yeah, stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.